Welcome to the debut episode of What a Relief on the Fish Stripes podcast channel. This is going to be the first of hopefully many exclusive interviews with members of the Miami Marlins bullpen and maybe other teams as the season goes on. I'm your host, Noah Berger. This being the first episode, I just want to take a moment to thank the Marlins organization for allowing me the access to players for interviews like this. And of course, the Fish Stripes for giving me this platform for putting my crazy ideas into action. My first guest or my first victim is known to many of you for his masterclass in the seventh inning. He's been around the league for many years. He was drafted back in 2008 by the Padres. Mr. Anthony Bass, how are you doing today?
Hey, Noah, thanks for having me. I'm doing great. Looking forward to talking baseball, the highs and the lows of everything that it brings. So thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming on. So you grew up in Dearborn, Michigan. You went to Trenton High School, Wayne State University, the highest draft pick from Wayne State University. How much does that mean to you, being the highest from your area?
Yeah, it's definitely an honor to be drafted as high as I was. At the time, when I was drafted, I was just so ecstatic, so excited to start my journey with the San Diego Padres in 2008. The thought of being the highest drafted player from my college never even crossed my mind until I think my college coach addressed that topic later on. But since that time, when I went to school, the programs really put themselves on the map, which is great to see. They've had quite a few guys drafted into professional baseball, and they've won quite a few conference championships and made some deep runs into the playoffs there. But what an honor, right? Just very humbling to be called, the highest drafted player from Wayne State.
Yeah, and as I said, you've been around the league. That's not even doing it justice. You've been around the world. You started out with the Padres, then the Astros, the Rangers, the Hokkaido Nippon Ham Fighters in Japan, where you won the Japan Series championship with, I think, Shohei Ohtani. Is that correct? He was on your team?
That's correct, yes. I got a chance to play alongside, in my opinion, the greatest player I've ever played with.
Could you tell back then that he was going to be as special as he has become?
Yes, no question about it. He was 21 years old when I played with him in 2016, and I always call him the 10-tool player. Literally, he's got everything on every side of the game. And when I saw him play, there's a reason why so many people would come to the game just to watch him play, and even being his teammate. I just kind of became a fan of just watching him play. And when you're in it during the course of a season, sometimes you kind of forget how special this person is until you kind of take a step back and you look at what he was accomplishing at that time.
Yeah, and I recall from when you guys went to Los Angeles, you have a jersey of his and you got it signed by him. What was that interaction like?
Yeah, so I reached out to the team that we played for, the Fighters, and this was actually in the off because I saw our schedule and I saw that we were going to the Angels early in the season. So I bought the same jersey we wore when we won the championship in Japan. I bought his, and they shipped it to me, mailed it to me in time for that series, and I sent it on over to their side. I had the clubby send it on over to his side, and I had a note on it saying, hey, Shohei, can you sign this jersey for me? Can you personalize it to Anthony? And then include the 2016 Japan Series champions on it. And then he signed it, which I think is such a cool piece of, obviously, memorabilia for myself. It's very special to me because we got a chance to share the same field together over in Japan, and to win a championship together was pretty special. And then afterwards, we communicated in the outfield the next day. It was good to catch up with him. His English is getting much better. When I played with him, he knew no English. So that's good to see. He's just a big kid, always smiling, always happy. Obviously, it's easy to be happy and smiley when you're blessed with those kind of skills, but he also puts in the work. So it's great to see him have the career he's having over here.
All right. So then after you went to Japan, you came back to the United States. You were with the Rangers, then the Cubs, then the Mariners, then the Blue Jays in 2020. What was that
Hmm.
COVID season like as a player in the major leagues? What was that like?
It was an eerie feeling playing in front of a fake noise, fake crowd noise for the first time. But you know what? It did kind of help when you're on the field and you hear like that white noise from the crowd, versus when you don't hear it. So it was nice that they implemented that, but not to play in front of fans, especially at the major league level, was weird. Probably the first few games, then you just got used to it. You could really hear the other dugout of what they're saying a lot more clear than with fans in the stands. So I always made sure I was listening to see if I can pick anything up that they're saying.
So after the Blue Jays, you were signed by the Marlins. You got a 2-year contract here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Seems if you've kind of settled down here a little bit during the on season, you go back home for the off season.
Yes, I do.
Of course, if you follow Anthony on Instagram, you'll see pictures of his family. What's it like balancing family life with two? I think you have 2 kids.
Yeah, I have two little girls, Brooklyn and Blair. They're 4 and 19 months now. I always call it like a healthy distraction from baseball. You know, having a tough game, it's easy to your mind to start racing and replaying that outing in your head over and over again, trying to make adjustments and doubting yourself. And then when you come home and you have them waiting for you to play, and they could care less, you know, what you did on the field, or let alone even realize that you had a tough game. It really just helps my mind just to get away from baseball, and I always call it a healthy distraction. So um, it's been great having Brooklyn and Blair, and obviously my wife Sydney along for the ride with me. It makes the season go by faster, I think.
It is a very long and grueling season. Um, you started out your career as a starting pitcher. Um, I think it was in 2012 you made 15 starts at the major league level. When did you kind of transition into the more of a reliever role, and what kind of made you do that? Like, was it a coach that made the decision? Did you kind of get the feeling that you'd be better suited for a reliever role? Was it analytics?
Um, so the next year, the last year I made a start in the major leagues. I think it was 2013. I could be wrong. I don't even know if I made it.
You had one start in 2021, but I think it was as an opener.
Yeah. It was earlier in my career. It was the inconsistency out of the rotation. I would have, good games, or I would have really bad games. There was really no in between. So I think they saw that. They saw my fastball, they saw my breaking ball, and they felt like I was a two-pitch pitcher that could have success in the bullpen. And when I say they, I mean I think the Padres did initially, and then I kind of made that transformation in the big leagues from starting to relieving. Actually, my first year in 2011, when I got called up, I made a spot start for Dustin Mosley at Coors Field. Went well. Got called up 2 weeks later, and then I think they put me in the bullpen as like the long man. So I was learning to relieve in the big leagues, which was not easy by any means. But I knew if I wanted to stay, I had to figure it out, and I would kind of watch how the veterans in the bullpen went about their business. When I say veterans, I was around, former Marlin great Heath Bell. He was in my bullpen. Mike Adams and Luke Gregerson. Those three were the 7, 8, 9 guys at the time for San Diego, and they all had great careers in San Diego. So it was cool to see them prepare, and it kind of helped me create a good game plan and how to get ready right away in the big leagues, watching them.
Was there at any point along the way a specific coach or manager that you really connected with and you still like go back to and are like, wow, this person really affected my life in a positive way? Like, is there any even now, is there any coach or manager that
Mhm.
specifically you gravitate towards as like someone that helps you better your game and stay focused?
Yeah, I would say like my first pitching coach in professional baseball in the minor leagues. His name's Dave Racich. He saw me from day one. So out of all the pitching coaches I've had, which I've had a lot of really good ones, I kind of tend to go back to him because he had me from day one in pro ball. I still stay in contact with him, and he had a nice little career. He played, I think, for 3 or 4 years in the major leagues, and he just always kind of would say the right things and kind of know how to dissect my delivery and my mindset on the mound. So he's one of the coaches in pro ball that had a huge impact on my career.
On you mentioned your delivery. You have a distinctive like high leg kick when you go to deliver. When did you start with that leg kick? Did you purposefully start with the leg kick, or it
Mhm.
just came naturally? I think you posted a picture once of you when you were much younger in that same leg kick position.
Yeah, yeah. My dad taught me how to pitch. My dad never played college baseball. I think he played up to junior high or junior varsity in high school. My dad did, and he saw that I had a passion for baseball early on in my life. So he bought Nolan Ryan's pitching Bible book and Leo Mazzoni's pitching book. And I know that Nolan Ryan had a good big leg kick when he pitched. So I think that kind of stemmed from Nolan Ryan's leg kick. And that's how I was taught at a young age from my dad from reading his book.
That's actually kind of interesting. I was trying to think of other pitchers with a high leg kick, and you always grab it. It's always Nolan Ryan is the first pitcher you think of with a high leg kick, unless you're a Marlins fan. Of course, Dontrell Willis is always with the leg
Yeah,
kick.
the D
Um,
man,
D
him play.
train. Was there ever like going back on the question about coaches and managers? Was
Mhm.
there ever like a fellow player that over the years you've become like really connected with, even now, like that you always have stayed in touch with, that's really impacted your game?
Mm-hmm. Oh man, I've played obviously alongside some really talented players, and I stay in contact with a few of them. Not many of them. Life kind of just takes you to different passes as you go on in this game, and especially when you go to different teams. You kind of your new team is kind of your new family, so you kind of lose touch with some of your friends that you play with, but any kind of mentors that I go back to in baseball. No one that really stands out. There's one person that I like to stay in contact with because I think he's a tremendous relief pitcher, and I try to replicate his success a lot. And that's Ken Giles. He's with the Seattle Mariners. I got a chance to play with him with the Blue Jays in 2020, and from time to time I'll watch his highlights on YouTube. Um, because when we were in Toronto together, our catcher said that our sliders and our fastballs, even though he throws 100 miles an hour, look very similar. The way that they come out of our hands, the break of the slider, they're very much a lot of depth to it. It's hard to go straight down, and then you got a hoppy fastball to go along with it. So he's one guy that I've stayed in contact with. I'm really happy he's back now with Seattle pitching after 2 years being away from the game because of Tommy John. It's great to kind of see him back in the big leagues.
Um, Now, going into more recent um, Anthony Bass history, he came over to Miami. I don't want to say got off to a shaky start,
No,
but
you can. I did.
it what's going through that kind of stretch like?
I put a lot of pressure on myself when I signed here. I expected to pitch the back end of the game, and when I wasn't doing my job, I was really beating myself up mentally and trying to get back to what I was doing with the Blue Jays the year before. I had a clear mind with the Blue Jays. I was making better pitches, I think, in the ninth inning. Last year, I let the moment, the ninth inning, kind of speed up with me, and I wasn't able to bear down and locate pitches where I wanted to right away. And I also think I had some mechanical timing issues right away last season that wasn't helping me command the baseball. So Mel Stoudemire, he recognized that, and we worked together to create better momentum, better timing to the plate, so that my arm's working in unison with the rest of my body, and that I'm able to essentially command the baseball where I want to. And I wasn't doing that right away last season, which was really, really tough on me.
Yeah, the first half and second half of that season for you were, if you look at the stats, were pretty much night and day. But the second half of the season, you were arguably one of the better pitchers on in the Marlins bullpen. And this season, for fear of jinxing you at all, because Tanner Scott's already mad at me for what happened in Philly. You've been pitching pretty well this season. Is it a mindset change? Did you change something mechanically over the off season? Because it's a completely different outcomes now.
Yeah, I think this season is what the Marlins fans should expect of me. This is what I expect of myself when the team signed me. Like I said, last year I was in a funk. My delivery was off early on, and I knew I needed to make adjustments. It's not like I'm throwing harder or added a new pitch. Everything's the same. I'm locating the ball in the strike zone where I want much more consistently this year. And I'm also filling up the strike zone more this year than last year. So that combination of location and throwing more strikes is going to lead to success. And my mentality when I come into the game is literally strike one. Whatever pitch that is, get ahead, put the pressure on the hitter right away. I think I'm in a good mental place as well. So those three things: location, strike one mentality, and I've got good timing, rhythm to the plate, and my delivery, I think, have all attributed to the success I've had to this point.
And quite successful it has been. I don't know if we want to pull up the StatCast. The last year, pretty much all of the every single percentile for you was not in the best spot. And this year you are red across the board. And it's been great to have, as a fan and someone that watches this team, it's great to have somebody you can trust in the later innings. There are a lot of baseball is a crazy game. There are a lot of randomness happens. When a weird play happens, like a ball gets knocked down weirdly or thrown away, or a player sticks their arm into the strike zone and gets hit by a pitch with the bases loaded to win a baseball game in New York, what's that like going? How do you keep yourself from not like absolutely freaking out during that kind of moment?
Well, it was frustrating, right? Because I made my pitch. I had Conforto, and I know that's who you're referring to. I had him frozen. He wasn't expecting a slider up and in, and he got beat. And the only way he was able to get out of that bat is if he got hit by a pitch. So he stuck out his big elbow guard and was able to, get hit by a pitch. And the home plate umpire, Ron Colpo, was about to ring him up, right?
He even said after the game, sorry for interrupting you. Ron Colpo even said after the game that he made the wrong call.
Yeah, which is good to hear. I like when umpires, made a mistake, right? So that's all you can do. I mean, the moment's over with. He made the call. You just kind of learn from it and you go from there. But you know what? Those kind of things happen when, as a pitcher, things aren't going well. like those crazy walk off, hit by pitches happen. Those blooper hits find holes. It just kind of it's crazy how the baseball gods work in that sense. When things aren't going well, it seems like everything falls and everything goes the other team's way. So I knew I was in a rut right there, but I knew I was going to get out of it. I just had to work with Mel and get right. And I did. In the second half, I had a much better year.
Yeah. So pitching out of the bullpen, you guys are out there for hopefully 6 or 7 innings, not doing much. What kind of conversations go on there? Keeping it PG and not getting anybody else in trouble. What kind of stuff goes on out there?
We'll talk about our previous outings a lot. Especially if it was a tough one. We have the iPads down there, so we can go back and look at the previous day, and we can help each other out, pick each other's brains on things that I saw that maybe my teammate didn't see, that could help him make an adjustment to get back, putting up zeros on the board. That's our job. So we talk about that. We talk about pretty much anything or everything in life. We've got the club out in the outfield, the loud music.
All right, Recess Sports Lounge.
It's pretty entertaining to see the people in there. So we're looking at them, talking about them, and it's all good. It's anything to kind of ease your mind, keep you relaxed is a really good thing. Everyone knows kind of when to start getting ready down in the bullpen. So, and in my situation, I know I'm probably pitching anywhere from maybe the 6th inning to the end of the game. So I'll start moving around the 5th inning and warming up my body to get ready to, go out there and compete. So everyone kind of has their routine in the bullpen to when they know they need to get ready. But leading up to that point, it's very much very laid back, very relaxed. I think that's really important as a reliever, not to be so tense all the time, because we already have enough pressure it is when we come in the game with runners in scoring position and nobody out, right? You got to bear down and make pitches. So we like to keep things relaxed.
Yeah, and every ballpark, of course, is different. Over the years, I think, have you visited every single major league ballpark?
I've played at every ballpark except the new Rangers Stadium. I played at the old one.
Which you will be visiting the new Ranger Stadium this season, I think. Or are they coming here?
Come to us, yeah. We don't go there.
They're coming here.
Yeah.
Over the years, as a visiting pitcher or as a pitching in your home ballpark, what's your ideal setup for like the bullpen? Do you like when it's out exposed, like in Tampa Bay? Do you like when it's completely enclosed? Do you like being closer to the fans where you can interact and hear all the heckling, or maybe grab someone else's popcorn?
Yeah, I enjoy being not on the field. I don't like being on the field. I like having our own bullpen area out in the outfield, beyond the fence. Having fan interactions good. I like that. To a point. I know the fans in Philly, they're pretty relentless, and they don't hold back anything that they want to say towards us. So
and they put the visitors bullpen closer to the fans there, which I will never understand.
Used to have the home bullpen up top, right? And they were getting worn out by the fans. They're getting criticized, and they actually moved them further away down below so that they're a little bit more secluded. And they put the visitors up top so that we can get harassed.
Yeah. So what else do I have?
What you got for me, Noah?
I have in my notes the Cervelli cigar.
Oh, yeah.
So what's the story with that? I don't really recall the full story, but I think it was he hit something off of you, and then later on, what's the story there?
Yeah, I think, when I was with the Blue Jays in the COVID year, probably my worst outing of the year came against the Marlins. And he hit a game tying or go ahead 3-run home run off of me. So I when I saw him in San Diego earlier this year when he was working on their staff and he was hanging behind the batting cage, I thought it would be a good time to go up to him and mess with him about the home run he hit off me. So I said, hey, I gave you that home run. I feel like I should get a peace offering for allowing you to do this to me. He started laughing, and I heard you're a cigar guy, and I like cigars too. So he said, I got you. Someone over right after batting practice. So he did. He sent me over a nice cigar, and we had a good laughs about the home run. But he was explaining to me why he hit the home run, and he said there was a base open, and there was a left-handed hitter on deck. So he said, even though the count was 3-1 maybe or 3-0, he said he knew I was going to give him a good fastball down the middle because he knew I didn't want to face the left-handed batter. So he said he was waiting for the fastball, and I threw it, and he said he just put a good swing on it, and the rest is history. So he said that's why he swung 3-0 or 3-1, whatever it was, because he knew I was going to challenge him and not give him a free pass.
So besides for the Cervelli cigars, I'm now calling that whole thing, is there any other kind of story that you have along those lines of like something with opposing players or somebody on your own team where like something that happened in your career that later on you guys reminisce about and kind of make peace about later on?
Yeah, I guess, in recent memory, the first blown save last year to the Rays, right?
I wasn't going to bring it up.
Yeah. Joey Wendell hit that home run off me. He crushed it. And I didn't even bring it up. Richard Blyers, when I brought it up, of course he would.
Of course.
Likes to stir the pot. And there was a game we were standing in the dugout together, and someone threw like a down and changeup to a lefty, and our lefty, I think, might have hit a home run on it or hit a double, roped a double. And I looked at Joey and I said, I guess down and in changeups, they don't play at this level, huh? And he just started laughing because that's the pitch he took deep off me. He's a great dude. Really glad he's on the Marlins. He's a great player, even better person. Hoping for a speedy recovery for him so he can get back here soon.
All right. And I think I want to wrap up with you got to throw in another guy under the bus, I think. Who's the you already said Richard Blyers is the one to stir the pot in the bullpen.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Are there any times where guys have played practical jokes on each other out in the bullpen? You got any good stories?
I know it happens a lot in the clubhouse. Guys like to play jokes on other guys. For example, I guess Joey Wendell likes to chew sugar-free gum. So someone yesterday, maybe it was Luke Williams, was grabbing every piece of sugar-free gum he could find in the clubhouse. And he brings a backpack to the field, and he filled up his entire backpack with sugar-free gum. I remember that.
I'm going to have to ask him about that tomorrow.
Yeah,
All right. Is there anything else you want to share before we finish up here with the fans, with anybody around?
Yeah.
Any message you have?
First off, Noah, thank you for having me on here. It's been great talking Marlins baseball. And I know our record right now isn't ideal. It's not where we all want it to be. But do know that we're putting in the work behind the scenes, and we all want to win. That's why we're here. Stay with us, keep supporting us, keep coming out to the ballpark, because when we go out on the field, we're giving you everything we have. And we know eventually the ups and downs of this year, especially right now, the downs, not winning as many games as we like, we'll turn around, hopefully sooner than later, so we can make some moves and put ourselves in a good position to dance in October. That's everyone's game plan and mindset with the Marlins. And we know that it can be frustrating being a fan of the Marlins at times, but do know that our common theme as a group is to win. So thanks again for having me, and go Marlins.
Thank you so much for coming on. This has been the Water Relief Podcast on the Fish Stripes Podcast channel. We'll be back at some point in the near future with someone else from the bullpen. Thank you.